We start off with our developing story for this evening. The University of Cape Town has evacuated students as a raging fire reaches the campus library. The fire started at the Rhodes Memorial on the slopes of Table Mountain earlier today. Of course, it was fueled by dry bush as well as high temperatures and fires that had destroyed the Rhodes Memorial restaurant as well as Mostert Mill. Well, of course, Tembegile, we've got our reporters that are also tracking that story for us. We've got Ronald Masinda as well as Lindsay Detlinger who are covering this developing story. Ronald, let's start off with you this evening. We can confirm that about 129 firefighters have been deployed to try to contain this fire. What is the situation like right now?
Well, good evening, Faith. Well, the rescue efforts are continuing tonight. We are at the Table Mountain National Park where the Newlands fire base is established. We've seen quite a number of helicopters flying and being dispatched to various parts of Table Mountain. Now, we're led to believe that the fire is still strong in quite a number of areas of Table Mountain. So this is essentially what has been done here. We're also seeing quite a number of workers on standby. These workers are people who will be going onto those helicopters in order to continue rescue efforts. They also have their water supply because this fire has really been very strong, and many of the firefighters are also putting their own lives at risk. We heard from JP Smith, the Security and Safety MACO member of the City of Cape Town, saying to us that at least 2 firefighters are injured and were admitted to hospital having suffered burn wounds. But we also heard from Dimakatso, one of the spokesperson for the fire department, as she mentions that one of the biggest issues in trying to stop this fire has been strong winds. This is what she had to say further.
To contain it is because the wind constantly changes direction. Earlier on, our firefighters were working on the left flank. They had to be moved there as the fire was burning dangerously towards where they are. And safety of our participants is a priority, as well as safety of our partners and safety of people around the area where it's burning.
Dimakatso, you mentioned that you're close to Groote Schuur Hospital. Is there any danger to that hospital in terms of the need for evacuation if that area of the blaze is not brought under control?
Well, at this particular moment, this is the site where our aerial resources have been focusing on. We have aerial resources are here doing rounds in this area. But now, because of the M3 and 2, I think that it provides a nice fire break. So I don't see the fire, I don't see it jumping on the other side, but we'll never know if the fire changes direction. But our firefighters, our aerial resources are on high alert to be able to make sure that that particular property, Groote Schuur Hospital, is safe from the blaze.
Ronald, stand by for us. I want to bring in Lindsay Detlinger at another location where we're watching these fires from. Lindsay, we've just been listening to an earlier update that we got from Working on Fire. What are authorities telling you where you're standing about the scale of the damage caused by this blaze today?
Tembekile, so this is where all the efforts are focused this evening as the sun is starting to set in Cape Town. Behind me, the African Studies Library here on Upper Campus next to the Sarki Bartman Hall. We understand extremely rare collections, African study collections in this building. They are trying desperately to contain this blaze. We understand that there is a concrete floor between the buildings, and very recently, I'm told by city authorities, special roller doors installed in this building to prevent exactly what's happening right now, this fire from moving to the back of the building. And so we've seen some firefighters starting to move into the building. They're trying to get in there, douse the flames on the floor where it's burning right now, and to stop it from reaching those special fire doors installed to prevent the damage of what we've seen here this evening. But Tembekile, if you will, let me bring in the Mayor of Cape Town, Dan Plato, who is here on campus assessing the damage. Mayor, thank you very much for your time. What can you tell us this evening about where this blaze originated and the extent of the damage in Cape Town this evening?
Well, it's very difficult to say. I talked to a number of police officers, and obviously our fire team, our investigators, will come up with the necessary answers. They are still busy assessing the situation to determine how the fire started, where it started. But the most important thing for me is exactly what you have alluded to save the buildings. What you see at my back is a lot of fire vehicles. On campus is more than 10 fire vehicles currently. We have 3 buildings currently burning sporadically, but this one is a major problem for us. It's the library with lots and lots of old ancient valuables in the library, and as you can see, our firemen is beginning to move into the building to stop the fire in its tracks from the inside, but also from the outside, firemen dozing down, and we will stay on scene until each and every flame is dozed down and the fire is stopped in its tracks.
Mayor, have your firefighters been able to determine perhaps where this blaze started and what the cause might have been?
That, as I said earlier, that's a very difficult one to determine right now. I visit my jog at Rolandstraat fire station about 2 plus-minus hours ago, but the situation will unfold during the course of the night. From here I will head back to Roland Street so that we can get to the necessary, more reliable information of what happened. I think during the night, early tomorrow morning, we will be in a much better position to say where and how the fire started.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Mayor Dan Plato. So the Tembekile Faith, all efforts being concentrated here this evening. As the Mayor says, they'll not let it rest until such time as they've been able to bring this blaze under control in this building that's housing the rarest of collections.
Well, we're going to take it back to you, Ronald. I mean, as Lindsay was just relaying what's been happening with the Cape Town mayor, we're also seeing the rescue operations as well as helicopters that are flying above you. Have we able to concretely establish the cause of the fire? The mayor is saying that the investigations are underway, but what are the firefighters saying as well as the rescue operations that side? Do we have an indication of exactly where this fire started?
All right, you'll just excuse me for having my phone in my ear, but where we are, it's very noisy, as we've seen earlier on with helicopters flying over. But just to come back to your question, Faith, at the moment, investigations are still ongoing. It's very early to try to establish what could have led to the cause of the fire. JP Smith says that it's no doubt that it is a human error and that many people use the mountain to either hike, and there are a few people who are known to be living on the mountain, but at this stage, they feel that someone needs to be held accountable because we've seen quite a massive destruction to property, many houses, many vehicles destroyed. I spoke to several students as well earlier on, and they will be affected this week. Many of them saying that they have assignments and they were busy with their studies before they were evacuated earlier today. But JP Smith, who is the Safety and Security MACO member, I spoke to him earlier on, and this is what he had to say with regards to the investigation.
Fires are caused by human beings. There are no fires that are not caused by human beings. Very rarely you will have a lightning or a train track sparking something, but fires are caused by people. So this is some form of human carelessness, whether accidental or intentional. We often have fires along the edge of these trees and bushes here because of homeless persons or vagrants in the bush, but that's not necessarily what caused this fire. We have in the past had purposeful, or what we believe to be purposeful, fire setting here because of simultaneous ignition points at intervals. That usually happens here along Philip Gosana and further down towards Vredehuk. That again is at the moment undetermined. We'll have to work with Sandparks to try and determine where this started.
JP Smith, one of the official voices, giving updates today on that massive blaze in Cape Town. Lindsay, you're at one of the sites that had to be evacuated, the University of Cape Town's campus. We've seen pictures of students leaving, some arriving at a police station, but do we know where they will spend the night?
Tembekile, we're not 100% sure where all the students will be home this evening, but my understanding is that there are hotels in the city that is working with the university here to try to house those students. We also know that the Gift of the Givers is arranging meals for the students this evening. Certainly here there are two residences on this campus flanking this building close to where I am right now, Fuller and Smuts, and both of those have been evacuated. So we understand right now that that some of these students are being given some form of accommodation in hotels, and there's also been a public plea asking for anybody who has a room, a bed, a space in their home to put up their hand and take in a student who has had to leave their res bedroom this evening.
Lindsay Dentlinger, Ronald Masinda, our team live on the streets of Cape Town today as we continue to track tonight the impact of that fire that is still burning, Faith, in Cape Town along Table Mountain, forcing the evacuation of sites including the University of Cape Town's campus. We're also hearing news that one of the nearby restaurants has now been completely destroyed by that blaze.